All right, everybody, welcome here for episode 3, Drawing with Mr. Hutch. Today we are going to be drawing Baby Yoda. Okay, so what we're going to need is pencil, eraser. Um, Generally, I like to have an ultra fine Sharpie or a pigment liner. I've got a couple here because they tend to run out on me. And you're going to want maybe a couple of greens. You maybe want a lime green and maybe like a couple shades of green and maybe a few shades of brown as well. But we'll get to the coloring in a bit. First off, this is going to be Baby Yoda inside of his little carrying case that he flies around in. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw the biggest shape, so kind of the shape of the flying baby carrier or Baby Yoda carrier that he's in. So let's just draw fairly large oval, something like that, to get started. All right. Then we're going to come down, and it's a little bit under halfway, where we're going to draw kind of an arc here, kind of as the front of the little carrier that he's in. Okay, this has kind of like a rim on it, something like this. Okay. It's got some elements over here that look like they're kind of holding it on. So it's sort of like a trapezoid shape. Okay. Now we're going to draw the main shape of Baby Yoda's head. Now it's not quite a circle. It almost is. It's going to go almost up to the top here. It's kind of a top of his head is kind of shaped like that. Right? And then you come down. So kind of like almost a rounded rectangle shape for his head. I didn't connect here and here because we're going to put in his ears there. So his ears are really quite exaggerated and long, all the way out like that. Do another one, same shape on this side. Okay. So now we got the big shape of his head. Pretty much doesn't have a neck because he's got this big turtlenecky sweater on that starts right under his ears. Right under his ears. Comes down like that. And it's kind of got a bit of a fold in there. And the folds in his clothing. And we're going to now add in his hands. So we're going to come down almost in the same spot for both his hands, almost midway through his ears, come straight down, little planning line, holding on to this baby carrier that he's in. And he's got 4 fingers. Okay, so there's hand 1. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to put in hand number 2. All right. Now, a couple more lines here for his cloak that he's wearing, where the creases and rolls in the fabric are. Got billowy sleeves on. Okay, that's starting to look pretty good. So the big shapes drawn, we're going to start to go in for some of the details. Now let's start up in his head. we'll add his eyes. Those are probably the next biggest shape that we need to create. So what we can do here is very similar to our facial proportions that we did for our human. We're going to draw a line of symmetry and a line, a horizontal line, just like that. And his eyes are going to kind of come right through the center here. And they're really big, flat on the bottom. So there's his eyes. Can almost even make them a little bit bigger. They almost go out to the ears there. So kind of like, looks like an eyelid on either side. Little nose shape. It almost looks like a cat's mouth. Now inside of his eyes, he's got some highlights, and they're up in the top left-hand corner. So let's just like find those right now. We'll just draw those in. All right, and now we've got some details in his ears that we can add. So it kind of comes up, and then we got a line that kind of shows the top of his ear, and then some lines inside of his ears. Same thing on this side, his jawline comes up, connects with the top roll on his ear, and then we've got those shapes on the inside of his ears like that. He's already, even though he's Baby Yoda, he's got some wrinkles on his forehead. So now we're going to go and kind of darken up some of the lines that we like, that we want to keep. There's just a little inside piece of this carrier that looks like it kind of goes behind Yoda. Time we could pull out a pigment liner or an ultrafine Sharpie and go over our lines. Remember, move your book. It's comfortable to make your lines. Don't move your hand to the page. Move the page to your hand. So now we're going to outline with Sharpie, or if you have a pigment liner, that works too. The idea is to be nice and smooth and confident, right? So we're just going to go over our lines. Nice and cleanly. I don't know if you tuned in or if you watched the Kool-Aid Man video from yesterday. Went a little bit long. Was a little bit long-winded there yesterday, so I'm trying to make it a little shorter today. I don't want to go into 49 minutes long like we did last time. So when you're doing your pigment lining, if you see adjustments that you want to make to your pencil lines, now's the time to do it. Tough to make adjustments to your pigment lines. All right. Now this little mechanical piece. Change these shapes up just a little. then the bottom. All right, we're all lined up. Now I'm going to take my eraser. Sometimes I'll just rub it on the table before I put it onto my paper and just clean off any of the lead that's on it. So I got a nice clean white eraser to use. And we can go in and erase all of our pencil lines. All right, we're ready for color. So I always like to work light to dark. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to start with the green. So just lightly at first, find the green that you like in your pack. Doesn't have to be the perfect Yoda green. You don't even have to make them green if you don't want. So remember, this is being recorded, and I will post it up on my YouTube channel. So if you want to go back, pause it, rewatch parts, whatever you need, you can totally do that. I'm trying to make these episodes right around 30 minutes. So don't want to go too much longer than that so that we can fit it in a period of school. Okay, green on his hands. Good, now I'm gonna find a bit of a darker green. And I'm gonna just add in a bit of shadow inside of his ears. Under his eyes. Under his chin. His other ear. Maybe a little bit on his wrinkles. Right. Slightly on the inside of his fingers a bit. Okay, I like that. All right, moving on to our brown. So let's find a nice dark brown for the inside of his eyes. We're gonna actually use two different browns in his eyes. We're gonna make a bit of an arc down here at the bottom. And then everything above that arc, let's do this darker brown. Might even have to go darker here in a sec, but let's see how this looks. Same thing, little arc. Gonna make a bit of a lighter brown there. It's just gonna give his eyes kind of a glassy, more spherical look. And this nice kind of light brown tan color in there. All right, and I think I'm actually going to go just slightly darker. Well, that's not quite dark enough. Let's see here. See if this is the color I'm looking for. There we go. Just a really dark up in the top left hand of his eyes. Now they starting to look like marbles, kind of. All right. Let's go back to this light brown that we use for his eyes, and that's gonna be the value that the color that we give to his cloak. So we can just do a nice medium brown of the entire cloak, and then we'll go in and we'll add some shadows in his cloak. So that's a pretty nice medium brown kind of base coat color for his cloak. And then I'm going to go back to that darker brown that I had to fill in some shadows. So we're going to have a shadow. Oh, that's no good. Some of these pencil crayons are cracked all the way through. Makes it pretty difficult to sharpen them. Right. Shadow there inside of the cloak where it's kind of going inside near his face. All right, we're going to have a shadow down here at the bottom of this roll around his neck. Shadow inside this fold. Continue the shadow along this bottom piece. It almost looks like a scarf, but it's just like the collar of the cloak he's wearing. Okay, and then even down here, kind of to the side of his sleeves, we'll be in some shadow under this piece. Shadows really start to give it that dimension that we're looking for. Right, and then the same thing over here. We'll have a bit of a shadow coming this way, and then down beside his sleeves. A little bit more under his collar. Good. And let's just give a little bit of a shadow to this side of whatever this wrap is. I don't know if it's buttoned down underneath there, but it definitely goes over top. Good. All right, so now the rest of the carrier case is kind of beige, which is kind of boring. I think I might change it up a little bit and go with a bit of a blue combination. A blue-gray almost. So,
how many subscribers do you have, Mr. Hutch?
Pardon?
How many subscribers do you have?
I don't know. The other day it was 11. Might have gone up now. That'd be cool if it did. Got like 50 views on one of my drawings, so that was pretty cool. All right, so now I've got this kind of gray-blue color. You can do the carrier case, whatever you'd like, but I'm going to use this kind of as the medium color, and then we'll come in and we'll add some highlights and some lowlights. So this is medium, kind of a blue-gray. I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight along this surface here. So wherever I don't color is where we're going to do a highlight. Okay, and then we got another highlight coming here on this side. So we'll just make a line so we know where to stop. Okay, and then this part here where he's holding, it's going to have a bit of a highlight along the top. of it. So we'll just kind of denote that with a line, and we'll color down this part. And these all, you can leave the buttons, but the panel that the buttons are on is going to be that same color. Okay.
I'm drawing an enemy from a Sonic game.
Cool. Top of all of this stuff is going to have a bit of a highlight, so you can leave white at the top of that, and then you can kind of color in everything behind him here. We'll add some dark shadows to kind of help with the form. Along the top of his carrier, there's a highlight there. Just want to leave that open. And then this side, you can color that all in that medium blue-gray. This. And here. Okay, so now we've got the medium kind of blue color. We'll grab a darker blue, and this will be, we'll kind of add in some shadows here. So we're gonna have a shadow that kind of comes like this. It's gonna help this carrying case start to look very spherical. Shadow there. Okay. Have a bit of a shadow at the bottom part of this. Okay. Now this part behind Yoda is going to be darker here because it recedes into the back of this carrying case. And a little bit of shadow maybe just behind his ear and his head here as it reflects onto this container. And some of these pieces in here will be a little bit darker as they go underneath. All right, and then let's color some of these lights in, maybe some blues. Maybe one of them is a green light. Quite the green I was looking for. There. And then we'll maybe keep one of them kind of this gray color. All right. And then the last thing I like to do is I like to outline just the outer edge of everything to give it that cartoony kind of feel even more so. So just do a nice thicker black outline just around the very outside shape. All right, we got 6 minutes left in the period. I think I pretty much timed this almost perfect today. Remember, it's always easier to turn the book or your drawing to make your hand comfortable rather than putting your hand in an uncomfortable position and keeping the book still. So that's always my go-to, is moving moving the drawing or the book rather than trying to draw with my hand in an uncomfortable position. All right. There we are. Baby Yoda. Thank you all very much for tuning in to episode 4 of Drawing with Mr. Hutch. I really appreciate it. I will be uploading this up onto my YouTube channel this afternoon, so can share it with the rest of the school. Please subscribe. It's getting exciting. I got like double-digit subscribers now. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. I'm going to stop the recording now.